Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by Arrowhead Mountain Spring Water. I'm Chris McGee, joined by James Worthy and Mike Bresnan. We have Allie and Trudell down at the arena. Lakers lose a big one to the Warriors. It was the NBA's biggest, most anticipated matchup of the week. Per usual, Steph was great. He had 37. He was magnificent down the stretch. Pajimski was unreal, going for 28. He had 8 threes. Kuminga came back tonight, scored 18 off the bench, and the Warriors' defense was really the story tonight. It just felt like the Lakers, every time they got close, the Warriors would just extend it back up to 10 or 11. The second chance points was an issue. 14 offensive rebounds for the Warriors, which led to 23 points. Bench struggled tonight for the Lakers, just 7 points. Luka 0 for 6 from 3, Doe 0 for 5, Gabe 1 for 5. So just the usual suspects that are usually giving you 3, 4, 5 threes a night, just not there. It's just one of those games, big game, and you got to give the Warriors credit. They deserve the win tonight.
You just put it all in a nutshell there, Guido. I mean, the Lakers had pretty much dominated the Warriors. I think the last 3 games they've won. So, you know, no excuse. I think for me, the early second opportunity points that the Golden States were getting never allowed the Lakers to play 24 seconds of good defense and then give the ball back up for a second chance or an opportunity. And Golden State took advantage of it. Then the poor shooting that we could not get anything early. Luka didn't hit a 3 tonight and missed a bunch of soft chippies. And also you had guys like Pajimski.
Yeah.
He was from the beginning. Those threes set the tone early.
Yeah.
The Lakers, you know, just did not have the rhythm that they normally have. The bench, you know. Gabe couldn't hit a shot. Dodo couldn't hit his shots. And so it was just one of those weird games where they never could get any you know, a grip on the game.
Yeah.
And when they did get it to 7, 8, it was either a turnover, was really, you know, bad tonight, timely turnovers, and that allowed Golden State to maybe hit a 3 or get to the foul line and get the lead back up. We never could break through it.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Pajimski is a second-year player that shoots 35% from 3, and tonight shot 80%. He was 8 for 10. He has that play at the end where he gets the, you know, after Luka scores and gets it to 7 or 10, he goes and hits a Josh Giddey type, you know, off a 1-foot 3. It was just his night tonight, Press.
Yeah, it's interesting. Second-year player, late first-round pick last year. Really bad start to the season. He was bad in October, November, December. Almost fell out of the rotation. And it's like, uh-oh, sophomore slump. He's had a really good post-All-Star break. And tonight, obviously, the best of all those games. Anytime you hit 8 threes and almost get to 30 in a really important game for not just Golden State and L.A., but the West standings. You know, got to give him credit, no doubt about it. He was hot from the start. And you know what, James? The Lakers were not. Remember, they shot 39% last game against Houston. They were able to grind that one out, get a victory against the Rockets. Similar start tonight. They shot 36%, the Lakers did in that first half. Down 13. Never could quite get out of that hole, Geet. And as a result, the Lakers now fall to 4th in the West, 1 game ahead of the Warriors. So you got to 6 games left. You really got to nail it the rest of the way.
Yeah, and before we get to Steph and what he was able to do, you mentioned the Lakers. They were stuck on 20 for 5 minutes and 16 seconds in that first quarter. They started out hot. Remember, they got 12 points like that. And there was a stretch for 11 minutes with that 5-minute mark in the first, all the way down to the 6-minute mark in the second work. James, they just scored 9 points. And obviously, you got to give the Warriors defense a lot of credit, but it was also just Laker offense just not making shots and just didn't have that energy tonight to match the Warriors until late where they made those runs and got back in.
Yeah, I mean, it was a collaboration of all those things, you know, not being able to make shots, missing, you know, like short chippies, then, you know, turn the ball over, timely turnovers, giving up, like we said, giving up second chance points. When you have all those things working against you, it's going to be a long night when your top scorer, Luka's not really hitting his 3. Nobody really was, you know, hot. You know, Finney couldn't hit a 3. Gabe, we didn't get the same type of production that we were expecting. And then when you add all those other things like turnovers and offensive rebounds, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, and the bench, so good the other night. You just alluded to it. Gabe had 20. Dorian Finney-Smith had 20. On a night where none of the Lakers could really hit shots against Houston, those guys saved the game. Not the same story tonight. The bench only 7 points for the Lakers. It's the second time in the last 2 weeks an opposing player from the bench outscored the entire Laker bench. A couple weeks ago, it was Orlando. Anthony Black outscored the entire Laker bench. Tonight, Kuminga, 18 points. Lakers reserves totaled 7 games. So, the Lakers did get that boost the other night. It just didn't happen tonight.
I know it's easy for us to see, but we're not a coaching staff. But tonight, I would have Dalton, man. I would have tried to see if he can connect on some threes for me in the second half, but that's not in the coaching staff playbook. They know what they're doing, but we needed some shots to go in. Just couldn't get enough of them.
So Steph Curry tonight, guys, 37 points, got to the free throw line 14 times. Got a couple late in the shot clock fouls. Just, Steph's able to do that. He's able to draw them. Made 13 of them. He's 10 of 21, 4 of 11. But James had 25 in the second half. I just think what he's so good at, and he's such a special talent. He's one of the greats to ever play the game, is the ability to, when you think you're close and you're right there, to make a play to hit a three or get an and one or get an easy bucket for someone else and separate again. He's that kind of guy that's you always have to account for him.
Well,
he's always moving.
The easiest time for Steph Curry, and it damn sure is not easy, is when he has the ball in his hands. When he doesn't have it, it's a nightmare. Because you blink and he's open. And he and his teams know how to find him. So what he doesn't get enough credit for is his ability to go to the bucket. I remember his third or fourth year in the league, he realized he needed to get stronger because when he got in there to the paint and got contact, he couldn't deliver. Now he can. And so the threat of the three just allows him to get in there and hit those layups when he needs to. But, Steph is definitely one to reckon with. He thought we had him under control a little bit first quarter, but I knew that wasn't the case because all it takes is one. And then he gets on a roll. In the second half, he just did what he needed to do to carry his team to a victory.
Yeah, is there any doubt, guys? We talked about this briefly on the pregame show, but the arrival of Jimmy Butler has completely invigorated the Warriors as a team, and Steph in particular. He had 52, I think it was last week.
Yeah, 89 points in 2 days.
Yeah, he got drilled 12 threes in that game. I mean, he's back. Not that it ever went anywhere, but, this team is now 20-5 in games that Jimmy Butler has played with his franchise. They're trending up for sure. And so are the Lakers. The Lakers have had a good run since getting Luka. Funny thing, it crossed my mind in that first half when the Lakers were struggling on offense. Are they tired? They just finished 17 games in the month of March. That's a lot of games for this team. And they finished February with back-to-back games in the last 2 days of that month. So I was thinking maybe they're a little tired. Shots seemed a little short in Houston or against Houston a couple days ago. Not hitting shots in the first half tonight. Again, 36% in that first half. But LeBron definitely did not look tired in that second half, nor did the rest of the team. Just a couple offensive rebounds they gave up, a couple ill-timed turnovers. That's what the Warriors do. They're a top-5 team in offensive rebounding.
So before we get to the highlights, that Warriors team that we just played, that starting lineup right now is 13-0. Because of that loss, if the playoffs were to start tomorrow, it'd be 4-5 Lakers at home playing these Warriors, James. I know it's only one game, but what'd you learn? Because when they played them in the past, both teams were different.
Brad just said it.
Yeah.
The arrival of Butler, who really didn't have that, dominant game that he's capable of, only 11 points, but 13-0 for a reason, because he adds the intangibles, defense, some leadership, a big bucket when they need it, and they're a different team. They're a different team. So we learned that Podziemski is a threat, even though he probably doesn't do this regularly, but against us.
Sure did tonight.
He's a threat. Kuminga coming in, had an outstanding game.
He's back.
That's going to make, that's going to give him a lot of confidence. So, we didn't even see much from, Buddy Hield tonight or, I guess Peyton's not playing, though. He's not on the team anymore. But, yeah, it was something to take note because they are a team that we probably will see, and this game right here is going to give them confidence going forward.
You got to make sure you have home court advantage if it's 4-5. Yeah. That's a huge lift if you're the 4 against Golden State.
All right, let's get you to the highlights. Lakers taking on the Golden State Warriors. Lakers lose 123-116. They fall to 46-30. Warriors to 45-31, just clinging to a one-game lead with 6 to go. Remember, the Lakers have the tiebreaker. But the Warriors, after winning 20 of 25 games, have come from the back and are right in the mix now. Steph goes for 37. Jimsky goes for 28. Kuminga 18. LeBron leads the way with 33. Austin with 31. Rui with 24. Let's head back downtown. JJ Redick speaking with Mike Trudell Media.
JJ, after what seemed like a pretty good first 5-6 minutes in terms of shot quality, what did you see from kind of midway through the first through the rest of the half defensively, and how what your team was doing against it?
I thought our first shot defense was great throughout the first half. They had 7 offensive rebounds for 12 points in the second quarter. We couldn't score for 6.5 minutes, and I think not surprised that they switched everything. We expected that. We scored 69 points in the second half against the same defense. I think we just got a little stagnant and didn't want to move. And you got to move. You got to play with force. You got to get to the next thing. Sometimes, and you'll have to ask the guys this, I think sometimes, the expenditure of energy on one end, and you don't have it for the other end. I thought our guys were playing hard on defense in the first half, and then just the second opportunities, and that continued. During our comeback, there were a number of possessions where got to stop, but they ended up getting an offensive rebound and end up scoring on it, or there's a loose ball, they get the loose ball. There was a few plays there. The 88-80 to start the fourth, and we get 2 wide open threes, and maybe that's a momentum change. We just the big momentum changing sort of stretch we just couldn't muster, and a lot of that had to do with just the second opportunities.
JJ, Luka just 6 for 17 tonight, and then defensively it felt like they were targeting him a lot in pick and rolls, and even when you guys would maybe put him on someone else, they'd find a way to bring him into the action. What did you make of his night on both sides?
Wasn't his night.
JJ, in the first half when you guys weren't scoring, it seemed like a lot of that was missed threes, but it was like your shot profile seemed to change. Like, I want to say like 8 and 9 foot twos, stuff like that. Like, what were they doing on that? Was that anything?
It was not what they were doing. It was what we were doing, and we showed them at halftime. The spacing, alignments, and having the wrong guy in the dunker spot, the wrong guy in the corner. It was not. Again, the structure of what we were trying to do against Reds, and what every team tries to do against Reds, is create the proper spacing and create the proper next guy and create the proper guys in the corners, and we just didn't have that. And you end up with turnovers, and you end up with a bunch of non-rim twos.
Is that disappointing, considering kind of the mentality that you would kind of ask your team to have in terms of like, we need to build playoff mentality now, and that's focus and stuff.
Yeah, we're still building it. We're not there.
You mentioned weeks ago, don't remember how long ago, but you mentioned that before the trade in February, you guys were really good against switching. Then you guys went through maybe a little bit of a lull against it. Were you surprised by how much you guys struggled against their switching, at least early on, before you guys seemed to recover and had the second half you did have offensively?
Not surprised. I wouldn't say surprised.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Lakers play the Pelicans in the second game of a back-to-back on Friday. You can catch all the action right here on Spectrum Sportsnet. Tip-offs at 7:30, pregame at 6:30. Much more ahead. Steph.
He was very active there on the offensive board on that particular putback. I'd like to see it.
Austin Reaves scored 20 of his 31 in the fourth quarter. Let's go inside the locker room. He's with Allie.
Austin, when you look at this one, you guys kept it between 7 and 10 all game long, eventually got it there to 5. What kind of kept you guys from getting over the hump down the stretch?
They did a good job offensive rebounding, and we did defensive rebounding. I think at one point in the third quarter they had, 14 offensive rebounds for like 25 points. So we did good on first shot defense, and then when you give them, second opportunities, they do a good job of getting offensive rebounds, spraying out to shooters, and making shots.
JJ mentioned it wasn't necessarily what they did, but you guys not being able to get to the proper spacing or spots within their coverages. How much of that obviously played a part in finding that rhythm, and what's the challenge of finding it when you need it late?
Yeah, I don't think it was a problem late. I think it was more so the first half. It was just a pretty bad stretch that we, just didn't play very good. We wasn't organized, and against a team like that, most of the time Reds 1 through 5, with that second unit, you had to be organized and run your stuff, and we just didn't do it.
What's been the biggest challenge when you guys have faced teams that switch everything for you guys?
Just trying to figure out what works for us. You see flashes of things we do that are good, and then we kind of experiment with some other stuff, and it doesn't look so good. And we just got to figure out what we, can do as a unit to, combat their, 1 through 5 Reds.
JJ mentioned that we just showed you guys film during halftime. What did you guys see or pick up on during halftime that helped you guys in the second half offensively against their switching?
We always watch film at half, a couple clips, like 7, 8 or so. Just things that we didn't do good, things that we did do good, and just, try to dissect the game halfway through it to give yourself a better chance in the second half.
I think what JJ told us was that kind of the goal here over these last couple weeks was to start building a playoff mindset, and where attention to detail ratchets up and those different types of things. Better in the second half, but disappointing, I would assume, that in the first half that you guys got so unorganized. What needs to get better on that front?
You're not ever going to play a perfect game. You wish you could, but I lost what I was going to say. What'd you ask again?
Just basically about, in terms of, knowing that you guys need to play more detail-oriented, attention to detail on basketball, to then have a 7 or 8 minute stretch where it seemed like offensively you guys lost a lot of that.
It's frustrating, but that's part of the process of becoming a really good team. You got to go through those ups and down battles of going through situations where you have to figure it out. If everything was always smooth sailing, if at any point in the future it doesn't get there, if it's a little rocky, then you kind of don't know what to turn to. Once you go through things like this, you have to adapt and to adjust, and that's what we'll do. So we'll be better in the future.
All right, let's talk a little Austin Reaves, guys. 9 threes. He had 20 in the fourth quarter. Big game, and once again over 30.
Yeah. Austin Reaves, he's very capable, regardless if he's scorching hard, if he picks and chooses like he did in the fourth quarter where he got going. So, yeah, it's good to see him, get through this game with 31 points, 0 turnovers, and he hit 9 3-pointers. So, and he got to the free throw line. So, he was the one bright spot overall, and he continues to flourish and always be a threat. But tonight, it wasn't the offense; it was the other end. It was just, it was giving up too many offensive rebounds and second chance points and things of that nature that kind of negated any good performance that he had, really. But it's one of those games. He was productive, and he'll continue to be.
Yeah, against Houston a couple days ago, very uncharacteristic game for AR. 12 points. His quietest game in almost 2 months, but good to see him back tonight, Geet.
Yeah.
I might even call him the X factor if these teams do play each other in the first round. And kind of alluding to what you said, James, not on offense, on defense. How's he doing defensively? He's going to be on Steph sometimes. He's going to be on Moses Moody sometimes. He's having a really nice post-All-Star run. And Podziemski, of course, So AR is absolutely a huge part. And he likes his style. He loves his style of play, just up and down, free-flowing. It showed tonight. But if they play again in a couple weeks in that first round, I think he's my X factor.
All right, guys. LeBron James had 33 points in the loss, a team high. Lakers fall to the Dubs. More reaction.
That elbow pass, there was no getting back in front of LeBron. That was a nice set play. I like that.
All right, Rui Hachimura scored 24 points in the loss. He's speaking with Mike.
Hey, Rui, JJ mentioned a portion of the first half, again, when Golden State was in the switches and you guys got a little bit stagnant. What do you think happened there, and why do you think that happens once in a while for you guys on the offensive end?
Yeah, I think, we had a good start. I think we scored 15 points in the first 5 minutes. And after that, we kind of was struggling. But I think it was because of our defense. You know, we couldn't get stops. And they were getting all this second chance, you know, the rebound, offensive rebound and stuff. So we weren't getting the rhythm, you know. That was the problem. And the third quarter, we came back in the same way. But, yeah, they just didn't miss the shots, you know. Kozinski, he made a lot of, you know, big threes. You know, he made 8 threes. Yeah, that's you know, it's a tough one. And then we got almost 24 seconds, and Draymond make threes in the last second. You know, it was a tough one for us, and yeah, that was a game.
You know, I know you guys always approach it one game at a time, but this does make things just a little tighter in the West. Is there any additional urgency for the remaining games of the season, really?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. It's every game, especially all those last games. I think we have 7 or 6, whatever the games. They're all against the West Coast team, West Conference team. So we gotta get all this, and you know, literally every game we change. It's just standings that are changing. So yeah, every game is important. Next game, and yeah, we just gotta get all this and then get ready for the playoffs.
Rui, the offense has struggled for stretches the last 2 games. Is that a byproduct of the opponent, or has it been struggles from within?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think the team start kind of, you know, we watching. You know, they're watching films. You know, they see a lot of, you know, they try a lot of things with us, and they see you know, our switching. You know, they're basically 1-5 switching. And I think they kind of saw that was the, you know, they can kind of have a chance. They have a chance to kind of, you know, close our offense. So we've been working on that, and we watch a lot of films. And today was okay. You know, we did a pretty good job on that. But I think we have a lot of, you know, space to improve. You know, our offense. So we gotta you know, watch the film and then come back for the next game or whatever the futures game.
LBJ and the Lakers lose the Lakers calendar. It's a back-to-back. What a shocker. Nice job, association. Pelicans on a Friday night. Thunder, another back-to-back, Brez. So it's at OKC, at Dallas. Then it's the Rockets at home. We looked, we saw Denver didn't have one back-to-back in the final month of the season, and the Lakers had 4 or 5. It's pretty comical. But it is what it is, and it's all good. 33-9 for LeBron. He's in the locker room with Allie.
LeBron was just talking to Austin. You guys kept it between 7 and 10 all game long. Eventually cut it to 5. What kept you from getting over the hump?
Shot making, offensive rebounding. I mean, they was making shots. Kozinski had a big-time game. Kuminga came in, gave him a big boost off the bench. Obviously, Steph does. But, you know, too many second chance points. Couldn't get over that hump, like you said.
Were you guys able to really find a rhythm, and versus a team like this to not, if you weren't able to? What's the challenge of getting through that?
I mean, it's always a challenge anytime you play Golden State. I mean, it's been like that for the last over a decade. So probably since like 2014, you know, when they really started to get it going. So we know it's always a challenge against them and keep you off balance all game, and you just got to try to figure it out, which we did. We did offensively. We were really good, especially in the second half. We had 69 points in the second half. That was not the reason we won there to win.
There was that stretch at the end of the first, going into midway through the second, where I think you guys missed 13 or 14 shots. What were you seeing during that stretch from you guys offensively, and what did you guys correct in the second half?
No, we just missed. I mean, sometimes it's a make or miss league. I mean, we was getting some really good looks. You know, we just weren't able to make at that point in time, and they were able to make, and that's how they was able to build up that 13-point lead at half.
As you continue to work your way back after the absence from the groin, do you feel like the second half tonight was one of the kind of a segment of the game you can point to, like I feel like I did pre-Boston?
That was the best I felt before the injury, for sure. I just tried to press, get downhill. My rhythm as far as my jump shot felt pretty good today. Obviously, I've been shooting from the free throw line extremely well as of late, but it's probably the best physically I felt, so hopefully I can build off of that.
Do you have a plan yet for tomorrow at this point?
I would like to get a good night's rest first, hopefully. We'll figure that out tomorrow.
The way all these teams are so bunched in this playoff race, how difficult is each loss to take at this stage?
Well, you got to win. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to win every game. If you don't, I mean, listen, we put ourselves in a position where we can, move up at times, or stay where we at, or if we don't take care of business, it's gonna go down. I mean, it's bunched up like you just said. So every game matters. I mean, it should be that way. I mean, listen, it's what, 6 games left, 7 games left, or whatever it is. So that's good going down the stretch.
Knowing, assuming that you've watched what the Warriors have looked like with Jimmy Butler since the trade, but having seen it now for the first time played against it, what did you sort of make of what they put together over there, knowing that that's a team you could see in 2 weeks pretty easily?
I mean, I've been a part of them making big acquisitions to change their dynamic of their team before. And had to go against them when they added Kevin Durant. So, I mean, Jimmy Butler is great, and he adds a toughness to him. He adds a championship DNA type of guy. But it's always the same. They always figure it out. They always add somebody that makes it dynamic.
What's for the balance for you, Luka, and Austin, as good as you guys are in terms of freelance and getting kind of what you want to get through attack, one-on-one attacks, versus like getting into more organized stuff? Like, where's that, I guess, on the process for you guys in terms of knowing what each other's going to do and when you're going to do it?
Well, I think the beauty of our game is not always knowing what we're going to do, in the sense of that's what makes us dynamic, us as individuals, being able to keep guys off balance, even keep your own teammates off balance sometimes, and it's always just stay ready. AR is great offensively. Obviously, the Don is great offensively. I can sprinkle in a little bit offensively as well from time to time, but we understand that being organized is always is important, not just for us three, but it's for the other guys. It's for our guys. It's for Dodo. It's for Gabe and Jackson, Rui. Goody. Doe. Everybody else. That's what the organization point is all about. Because we can do what we do. We can freelance as much as we want, and still it looks great at times. So, but the organization has to be for the rest of the guys, and we understand that. We know that we got to put guys in a position to be successful.
You mentioned the Warriors being tough since 2014. Draymond's been very outspoken about how much of a chance he believes that they have this year. Now that you've seen them up close with this version, how much of a formidable foe do you think they're going to be in the West from here on out the rest of this year?
I have no idea. I can't answer that question. I got to worry about us. I can't be worrying about other teams, and that ain't my job. Appreciate it.
Tale of two halves. LeBron James with 8 in the first half, 25 in the second. He was 8 of 11, 3 for 5 from 3, 6 assists and 3 rebounds. Big game. I guess if you're taking away a positive, when you look at LeBron since he's come back from injury, and we talked about it in the pregame show how he's gotten better as each game has gone on, do you find some, happiness, comfort, whatever, in seeing just the activity that he showed in that second in terms of like block shots, dunks, getting up and down the court?
He's getting back to LeBron, what we're accustomed to seeing, that athletic LeBron. I mean, I thought in the last game, in one of the games, he came over from weak side and blocked the shot. That was also a good sign. But yeah, I mean, look, we're going to need him. We're going to need his leadership. We're going to need his decision making. We're going to need his patience and knowing when to, give the team what it needs. So it was good to see that in the second half, that he's able to come back from a slow start. And even he says, look, he feels good, feels better than he's felt since he's come back. That's a good sign with, this many games left and moving into the playoffs.
It's funny, I was there a couple weeks ago, his first game back after that 2-week hiatus. And he admitted, he's like, wow, you can simulate all you want. And we had that amazing video of him a couple days earlier doing the dunk and the full court run all by himself a couple hours before a game where he didn't play. But he said, once you play an NBA game, man, you get gassed if you sit out 2 weeks, especially at his age. So I thought he was a little short on his shots his first few games back. Not tonight. He looked great. Unbelievable.
All right, guys. Luka Doncic held to under 20 points for the first time since. Western Conference standings. Lakers go from 3 to 4. Warriors stay at 5. Grizzlies, Timberwolves, Clippers are all tied. Timberwolves and the Grizz won tonight. Ant was hurt, sprained his ankle against Brooklyn. Not sure how bad that will be. They're 45 and 32, excuse me. So the Clippers are a half game back. But boy, is it it's getting close. For the first time as a Laker, Luka failed to make a three-pointer. Speak with Mike in the media.
Hey, Luka, there was a several-minute stretch kind of late in the first, around the second quarter, where you guys were struggling to score, and it looked like a lot of it was against their switches. And it had part of this conversation before. What did you see from Golden State, and what did you feel like you guys maybe weren't doing that you then cleaned up in the second half?
I think they were playing good defense. I think we didn't play with enough trust, especially me. So that performance for me is unacceptable. You know, when I play like that, it makes for the team harder to win, so just got to figure that out.
Luka, when you guys have made the push to cut it to 5 in the fourth, what do you think the difference was there that you weren't able to fully make the comeback?
I think we're playing with a lot of pace, you know, causing confusion on the defensive end, you know, slips, sometimes set it, sometimes slip it, so just making a lot of confusion with the switches, and that's how we scored 116 points.
Luka, we saw at the end of the Houston game, you took kind of a hard fall on your elbow, taped up today. It was wrapped up pretty big post-game the other night. How's that?
It's fine. It's my left hand, so it's fine. I was shooting with the right. Looked like left, though.
And then, you haven't had many nights where like you said, the performance is unacceptable. When you're out there and you're searching for momentum and rhythm, I guess, how frustrated were you in the moment, and did you feel like it took you out of some stuff tonight?
Well, I mean, very. It's always frustrating when you can, you know, help your team like that. But you know, I think, and it's not always about scoring. You can do some other stuff on the court, assists, rebound, defense, all of that. So, trying to help in other ways.
When speaking with JJ, he mentioned that during when you guys went through the offensive lull, some of it was due to not being as organized as you could be. You know, some guys not being in the right spots. When speaking with LeBron, he mentioned that the organization versus freelance is not just important for, you know, the team, but more so the guys like Durant, you know, Gabe. They feed off of the organization that you guys can create, advantages you guys create. What needs to happen, or I guess who is it on for that organization to be there for a full 48 minutes and to not go through that kind of lull where it's not there?
I mean, it's a little bit on everybody, you know, coaches, me as a point guard, you know, I need to get everybody in their spots. So, you know, being organized is very important for us, I think, especially because of spacing that we have. And when we have good spacing, we're very tough to guard.
Last one. Hey, Luka, over here. What do you think how important it is to have such a kind of a game now and to be prepared in this kind of situation in the playoffs?
Yeah, it obviously felt like a playoff game. You know, obviously Warriors, since, you know, they acquired Jimmy, they've been playing unbelievable. So it was kind of playoff game, and now we see what kind of team they are. So maybe we can meet them, maybe not in the playoffs. So we just need to be more ready.
Excellent. So you can catch the game right here on Spectrum Sports, and tip-offs at 7:30. Our pregame coverage at 6:30. Brez?
Pelicans, 14th in the West, Geet.
Yeah.
Out of the playoffs. We're not going to see Zion tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see McCollum tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're not going to see B.I. tomorrow. He got traded, so he's out.
Okay.
This team is not very good, Geet.
Okay.
The Lakers have to win tomorrow. It's their last easy game remaining. Got to make sure you wipe off the tough loss tonight, James, and come back out tomorrow and win.
Got to win at home.
Yep.
especially against New Orleans.
Yeah.
But you can't make mistakes. I mean, you got to come out and, you know, they're going to come in here with nothing to lose, obviously. We'll win tomorrow. We'll win tomorrow.
Win tomorrow, then you have 5 games left, 1 week left in the season. Go out on the road for those 3. Come back for Houston, back out on the road.
Yeah, a lot of travel, weird travel the last 5 games.
I want you to call your people at the NBA office and ask what was going on.
Tim Frank.
Back.
The call.
Call Tim.
What's up, Tim?
Oklahoma back to back.